So now we're done with the shortest minigame cruise mode out of the way, so let's move on to the next minigame cruise mode, and that's what appears to be Pearl Hunt. Play minigames until one person finds 3 pearls. So basically, it's kind of like the exact same, or almost exactly similar to the likes of one of those minigame modes from the likes of Mario Party 5, which is be more specifically Minigame Wars, except the fact that we can't able to actually just try to choose one of those tiles. So instead, we have to able to actually just try to find your very own pearls, and then if you do manage to find all 3 of your own pearls, basically though, the game just ends. So yeah, let's take a look at the actual instructions themselves. So yeah, if you beat the minigame, or if you somehow manage to win a minigame, which by the way, those minigames are all 4-player minigames variety, so I don't think there's going to be team-based ones. So yeah, we're just going to have to stick around with this. So once again, we're going back to Poke Pummel again, so at least I was expecting if I was going to be able to get another new record for this point, but if I do, then I'll be well achieved for the sake of time. So, yeah, today's day is of course the 20th of, well, I'll get to more now in a second because I need to do this first. Oh, close to getting new records, but that's okay because I'll take it. So, anyway, today's day is of course the 20th of February today, in this case in 2022 today. So it looks like about the fact of the matter is though is that today is going to be the closing ceremony for the sake of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics. So, and as far as whenever we watched it, oh, and by the way, before I get into that though, oh, every once in a while though, as you can see, I've managed to stumble across the Bob-omb right here. And basically does the fact that it actually shows you some of these shells that basically though that you can able to actually tell where some of these pearls are located, and some other times special items. Like for instance, there is actually a mushroom that this allows you to able to pick another shell that you can able to actually just try to open. So yeah, and there's also the super shroom or the super mushroom, which basically that allows you to able to actually pick 2 shells. So at least that's the only method you must able to actually think about for the sake of which one of those special items you get. So anyway though, so let's go back onto Big Dripper again, but this time around though we are doing alright actually, even though I wasn't exactly, well, the expert at this, but despite the fact that I got stung once, but oh well, no big deal, but at least I still managed to win anyway. And because of that though, I know exactly where my, the pearls are going to be at, but first of all, let me just go ahead and open up this shell right here, so that way I can able to get a mushroom panel, or the mushroom item, so that way it allows me to able to select another shell. So let's go and select that one. So that way we get ourselves one of my pearls. So only 2 more to go. So yeah, you probably expected how this goes basically. So alright, Cashy Tunes. We've already played this before since Volcano Peril. So hopefully we'll play this one again after, you know what I mean, since about a week ago. So, yeah, for what I've watched the films of the closing ceremony of Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics, I enjoyed it though. But then again though, despite the lack of spectators still, and also that, I think I should probably let Pac-Man will get into the actual medal table until whenever when he goes back onto The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past until tomorrow. So I'll let him discuss more details about that medal count overall when it comes to certain countries alike. So thankfully though, it will be the case. So let's see. Oh, lucky me. I got myself the second pearl. So potentially it might actually be kind of like I don't know if this mode will go either quick or long depending on what specific shells I somehow open for. But sometimes this particular minigame mode, specifically Pearl Hunt, can sometimes might take a while to finish, but I'm sure we'll get the gist of it though, so. Alright, picture this again, but this time we are still doing the car one again, so seems pretty weird about the fact that, excuse me, about the fact of the matter is, though, is that we always attempt able to come across into the car one the most. But either way, though, because mind you, that I'm pretty sure that, relatively speaking, for those of you who lived in the UK, that I'm sure enough that Disney Pixar Cars managed to came out the exact same year as this game was, at least specifically in the European country, and Australian versions as well. So I'm also able to actually just say that much. But anyway, now we've actually won that again, so at least we might as well hopefully will come across into either the useful item or just one of those random pearls like warriors right here. So because of that, if I stumble across the warriors pearl, basically though, that it'll just pretty much gonna... Oh, look at that! We stumbled across the final 4-player minigame that we have not played yet, which is Fun Run. So let's get to it. Run for the finish line at the top of the tower, but don't hit any obstacles. So move carefully. There are hidden traps on the walls and floors. So actually, I must admit though right away, I really appreciate about the fact that what this mini game is actually, I'm not gonna lie, pretty much one of my favorites in terms of those mini games in terms of Mario Party 7. Although, mind you, I will still able to actually just able to consider that Camp Yukiki will be still my favorite though. But then again though, we'll point it out whenever we get into the unseen mini games throughout. But either way though, we'll point it out whenever we get into that though. But at the very least, Fun Run is still a pretty cool mini game to go through, because all you have to do is basically, so you have to avoid a lot of like obstacles such as like spiny shells and also plenty of traps ranging from that little shoved wall and also some trap floors here and there. But regardless of everything else though, I just really wish that this minigame will make a comeback in Superstars, but unfortunately though, that doesn't seem the case sadly, so oh well, no big deal. And we got a new record, so that's pretty super top notch and everything, so that's up for that. So I should probably point things out as well, is the fact that, well, I'm pretty sure that Pac-Man has already mentioned about this ever since in specifically in the Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past playthrough, that you notice about the fact that since then we've already watched every single Mission Impossible films, ranging from the first to the 6th one as of now. So it kind of sucks about the fact that, well, I still find this incredibly underwhelming about the fact that Mission Impossible 7 is now officially delayed until in 2023 next year. So I'm honestly trying to blame on that new variant of that. You know what I mean, so... Anyways, Dragon yelled again, so either way though, let's just hope that we won't be able to come across into so many of those electricity ones like few in a row. Well, usually, mind you though, is the fact that I'm gonna have to focus here. And that was extremely close run right there, but either way though, it knows where it stands, so... I do apologize with the actual commentary for the sake of this points today, because I know I was able to try to mention something else for that matter though, but honestly guys, there's not much else I can speak of, because, well, apart from the fact that, well, obviously that the closing ceremony did manage to happen today for the sake of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics, and I suppose we're gonna have to wait until the next 4 years now until the next one is going to be on the horizon, which is Buddy Films of 2026. So, yeah, it seems kind of crazy, doesn't it? For certain years to come. So... Alright, so we're going back on to Take Me On again. So, in this case, though, is that we'll just have to... Well, go for a bit, trying to able to avoid as many of those electricity stuff as much as possible, as always. Oh god, okay. So at least Luigi's out. And this time around though, Wario's out. So thankfully we don't come across into any ties or draws or anything else to be more specific, because I know for the fact that I'm pretty sure if 2 players managed able to win on that minigame, much like in Volcano Peril, two players can't pick a shell, so it only has to be one player who's going to be able to become an overall winner for, in one of those mini-games in general, so... Alright, target attack again, so we're just gonna have to rank up some more points for that particular minigame itself. Oh yeah, I should probably point things out as well. Unfortunately though, is the fact that I no longer have Rayman Revolution, specifically Rayman 2 Revolution on the PlayStation 2. I have no idea what it is though. It's mainly because I was more into the forms of the Dreamcast version, the superior version of the game, and also on top of all that stuff though is the fact that, well, when I've played it, I'm not a big fan of the hub world system in terms of the forms of Rayman 2 game itself on the PlayStation 2. So because of that though, it just makes every single backtracking aspect a bit tedious to me. Especially noticeable about the fact that... And also I found out that the actual voice acting, for the sake of on the PlayStation 2 version, is a bit muffled up in certain parts. So that's why I'm essentially going to say that I no longer have Rayman Revolution on the PlayStation 2. So I'm perfectly fine with having the Dreamcast version, which is the best version of the game, and also the PlayStation 1 version for the sake of, despite the visuals wasn't all that great to begin with, but apart from those side of things though, it does have a really good content at the very end by, you know, having the ability to play, you know, a prototype version of Rayman 2, like a 2D platforming game, just like in the forms of in the first Rayman. So, and also, actually really good voice acting here now as well on the PlayStation 1. And, yeah, that's basically how this goes. And I'll save the 3DS version just for the sake of playing the Dreamcast ports for the likes of, all the 3DS ports of the Dreamcast version of Rayman 2 on the go, despite what the forms of the miserable frame rate, so... But that's how it usually goes, basically, for my, understandable moments of which specific preference that you might go for the sake of the forms of certain games throughout or something like that, which... I have no idea why I'm saying things weirdly enough at this point today, because, well, apart from the fact that... although, then again, though, is the fact that Pac-Man has already mentioned about a lot of stuff, for the sake of the forms of his Let's Play of, you know, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, basically. So, in this case, though, that's honestly as far as I can say about it, so... Because, you know, it's kind of weird about the fact that he always mentions about a lot of things, from not just by the forms of The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, but also Wario Land 4 as well. So, because of that, though, I'm pretty sure he's already covered for the sake of the forms of several things is worth noting for other discussions alike, so... Anyway, so let's go back on to Ghost in the Hall, and I somehow got freaked out by these pink boo. But still, it feels a bit luck-based at times for the sake of this minigame itself, because although, thankfully though, it wasn't nearly as annoying as the stupid ghetto rope and pitfall scenarios and stuff like that, like I said, but anyways, let's just keep moving, and then hopefully I'll try to... Oh god! Alright, it's gonna go the way, and oh jeez. Even though, mind you, you have to deal with this without a map, so... And I've actually lost. Ah, darn you, stupid doors, and especially noticeable with those pink boobs managed to appear out of nowhere. But, oh well, I'll take a loss anyway, so... I'm guessing Waluigi might able to actually find one of the pearls, so... At least as far as I'm assuming so, anyway. Yep, he managed to found his own. So he only got 2 left, so... Oh yeah, there's also another item that you might able to come across into on this minigame mode, which appears to be by the forms of the whirlpool. I believe it'll basically just shovel up the actual shells into different forms within, depending on what specific layout of those shells we're able to go into. But then again, we'll point it out if we come across into one, so... And I think, fundamentally speaking, that's as far as I can say in terms of the forms of the Pearl Hunt itself. I mean, basically though, it's just like a very standard, like, minigame mode, but most of the time, the game will tend to go either sometimes quick or sometimes even longer, depending on what specific Pearl's locations are going to be randomized, so... that might be something worth a consideration for the sake of time, but I can usually get used to with the actual length. Oh yeah, I suppose the final thing I should probably explain about this as well, I think. I don't suppose that Pac-Man hasn't mentioned about this, for the sake of not only, like I said, from the likes of Zelda A Link to the Past, and also Wario Land 4. Apparently though, oh yeah, this is the whirlpool I was talking about. Basically though, those shells are shuffled, so in this case though, although thankfully though, assuming if they, most of those shells will come down, and basically though, most of those pearls you've collected are still kept, so, but now we need to figure out where is the last pearl, so, sometimes it can be lengthy though, I must admit. But anyway, I've decided that doing at some point on June, which is to be more specifically, the 21st of June actually, we might actually go for a holiday vacation, so because of that though, I think the country we're about to be going on to is Cyprus. So in this case though, is the fact that I'm really looking forward to that though. I promise you guys I'll be careful out there, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, I always have to able to bring masks every time whenever I go somewhere every now and then, which just kind of sucks, but at least we still have to stick around with it, I suppose. But yeah, it should be awesome, and yeah, I cannot wait until I'm able to actually just to experience Cyprus and all that stuff. Oh, would you look at that? My third and final pearl was actually in the middle portion of that particular thing this whole time. So then again, if you found all 3 of your own pearls, basically the game just ends and you will be the winner. So I suppose that's pretty much about it for Pearl Hunt. So, pretty fun mode, even though despite it can be a bit lengthy at times. But anyways, let's move on to the fun mode, which is Decathlon Castle.